wanted to talk about this weird thing that I've been experiencing off and on over the last few years. And that is the residual effect of going through a toxic relationship, dealing with the family court system, and it's about being jaded. It's about being affected in a way to where, and subconsciously in the back of your mind, you always are just basically jaded on how you think, how you look at things. Now, let me explain what I mean by this. I've noticed that prior to this, when I would see things with other relationships, see things in TV or on the news, I would have a positive feeling about it. But what I've noticed, like I was listening to a news interview earlier today, and it was a widow, right? It was a widow who lost her husband, and I have this, as I'm listening to this, I'm like thinking to myself, well, was the relationship really good? What's the backstory? Were they really happy? I mean, was it all manipulative? And I'm saying this not to try to make you feel that you can't get over this or anything like that. But I'm also talking about this to be real, because there's a lot of, your life does change. Now, to be clear, and I've said this before, and I really mean this, I am so happy with where my life is today. Things are so much better. I am in a better place. I'm happier. I feel like I have a bright future. But there are these little residual things that are in the back of my mind that kind of, I don't know if I would say they cloud things, but it's an interesting thing. It's an interesting result of this. So, I mean, the reality is your life is going to be better after all of this, but there's going to be residual issues that you're going to have to deal with. And I think that everything is going to be hunky-dory and go back. Well, it can't. I mean, it can't. You've opened the box. You can't put things back in, right? I mean, you've been through whatever you've been through. You're going to have that experience. And now you're going to be different. You're going to approach people differently. You're going to be more cautious about things. Your spidey senses, so to speak, are going to be up and on, and you're going to be looking for potential problems or potential risks. I mean, especially if you can look at your past and you see that you just ignored previous risk. You were just like completely oblivious to whatever was going on. You are going to not allow that to happen again, or you're going to be much more aware when you're dipping your toe into those waters to understand the risks, what you're doing, what potentially could happen, and that sort of thing. The reason I say this is because, or the reason I think that this is important to bring up, is because you go through this phase, especially in the early parts of this, where you think that you're never going to get to the other side of this. And if you're having those same type of feelings and you're in the early part of it, you could be thinking, oh my God, I'm stuck feeling this way or thinking this way. I'm never going to get to the other side of this. I might be different. I might not have the same strength that somebody else has. Well, you have a tremendous amount of strength. You are a lot stronger than you really give yourself credit for. Going through one of these abusive relationships, you really have to dig down deep to be able to make it work. Now, a lot of that is naiveness and just not looking at the things that are really happening. But these are traumatic experiences. I mean, this isn't, happy fun time, and then you just decide one day that it's time to do something different. These are tough. So you're a tough person, so don't forget about that. Keep that in mind. The reason I'm bringing this up is whenever we're beating ourselves up, whenever you're in the midst of this and you're trying to get through it and you're thinking that it's just not going to work out, it's normal, right? It's normal to have a lot of those feelings. It's not necessarily great, right? I mean, I'm listening to this story and I'm just thinking, this was just a few minutes ago. I was just listening to it on the news, and I'm just like, wow, that is really weird that my going in position is, something happened, right? That there's more to the story. And who knows, maybe there is, right? But it's just, it's one of those things where it just makes it colors your life experiences. Now, let me back up a little bit. In the past, I would have a much more aggressive response to this. It would be more like, somebody sticking a finger in a injury, and it would really hurt. Now it's a little bit more dull, and it's just one of those things that it's just kind of like in the back of my mind. And I could probably work on that if I did some exercises on that, or some hypnosis or something. I'm even actually considering creating my own files for myself, to kind of help me reprogram some of the things I think of. But my message on this is there is an effect to all of this. It doesn't have to be completely destroying. It doesn't have to be devastating to where you can't get through it. You can't, rebuild your life. But there will be these residual pieces there, and it's okay. And I think that as time progresses on and you heal from it, you'll be able to take those feelings and emotions and those reactions to things and use them in a more constructive way. I mean, how do I use what I just experienced today in a more constructive way? Well, I'm thinking about it, right? I'm like going, why am I thinking that? What is the root cause of that? Why would I come to that conclusion and go down this path and process things in that way and have that in the back of my mind? So, I mean, the real answer is that we've been through an experience which shows us that trusting people is a little tough. You have to be very cautious of who you give your time and energy and your emotions to. Nothing wrong with that. There's different people for everybody, and you need to choose better. We all need to. So, curious what you think about this. Would love to hear your comments in the comment section down below. If you like this discussion, give it a thumbs up. If there's somebody who's struggling with this and you think that they could benefit from this topic, share this video with them, and I will chat with you on the next video. Take care.